balance.
Right.
But individually, one tolerates that better than that.
Right.
If you have problems, what the fuck is going on
I
here?
don't know. You're saying some really good things, I guess. That's what.
Yo, welcome to The Big Take. I'm your host, John Red, here to bring you the biggest take in professional bodybuilding, open pro bodybuilding, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the new biggest coach on the scene, Stefan Kienzl. He was just on Fouad Abiad's RBP podcast, and the interview is fucking incredible. You should go watch this interview. If you guys are not familiar with Stefan, he coaches a plethora of high-level athletes. Wesley Vissers, for example, who just won the Arnold Classic Ohio, which shocked the fuck out of everybody, including me. He also coaches Oars. He also coaches Nathan Diasha. He also coaches James Hollingshead. He also coaches William Bonac. Just found out that too. We'll talk about that a little bit later. He also, in the interview, he says that one of Hani's coaches actually left Hani to go to him. And I think that's pretty goddamn interesting to leave Hani to go to somebody else. You must be a cold, bad man, bad man. But anyways, so Stefan is very behind the scenes, right? Haven't heard much about him really until Wesley Vissers won Ohio. So at one point in the interview, Fouad asked him why he's so behind the scenes, right? And this is what he had to say.
You know, I can't do it differently. I think it has something to do with my autism and not liking to be in front of something because that's a bad feeling for me.
I see. I see.
So very interesting. Stefan actually has autism. I don't know a lot about autism. I'm not gonna act like I do, but I'm pretty sure some forms of it can result in some pretty high mental capacity and focus. If you've ever seen like the movie The Accountant, and I don't know how accurate that is, but the guy's like a mental beast. Stefan said he's been going to therapy for over like 20 years just to learn how to function socially, right? It's something that he doesn't like to do due to his autism. He said at one point that, he's very, very blunt to people. He said he'll walk into a room. He doesn't understand why people have to say hi and stuff like that. He said, when I'm standing up talking to my wife in the bathroom, I just can't say, you look like shit right now, right? He said, I'll end up dying alone. So some crazy stuff. He said that he also has a very, very high pain tolerance. Just to go back a little bit, he also was in medical school for a while, right? Real smart dude, was on the way to finishing medical school, and with like half a year left, he just quit because he had his first gym session. He said he fell in love with it immediately, and he actually had to quit bodybuilding because he was destroying his body. His pain tolerance is so high, which is a result of his autism, that he was working out with a broken fucking spine and didn't notice it, right? He tore his quad, had no idea, and was still squatting, right? And he said he was just destroying his body because he could just go so fucking hard and not give up and just tearing his shit up. He said when he was younger, when he was a kid, he fell off of his bike and broke his collarbone, like tore his shoulder and all kind of shit, and he had no idea. He just got back on the bike, rode to school, went to school for a few days, and he actually never went to the doctor until he was at clarinet practice, and he said his arm was just kind of hanging, so he couldn't lift his arm up to play clarinet, and he just like fell over, just fell out. And they bring him to the hospital, and the doctors are like pissed off because they're like, why is this kid just coming in here? His body's destroyed. And they want to call CPS. They think that his parents just beat him and were trying to hide the fact that he was hurt, and they brought him in late because it got too bad. But he was like, nah, I really just didn't feel it. So just some wild stuff, almost like some superhuman shit. But anyways, so he also coaches William Bonac. He said Bonac grows at just a ridiculous fucking rate. So just check out what he has to say about Bonac.
I'm working with William Bonac for his comeback.
Yeah.
And William, like Nathan, asked me if I could coach him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what an honor. Yes, I will. But we need to talk about the time frame.
Sure.
And he sent me pictures. And I thought that will gonna be a hell of a job. And he said, Stefan, you will see. It goes fast.
Yeah. He's got the genetics.
That guy changed within 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff. I've really seen a lot of, but I've not seen that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this leads me into what Stefan says about hyper-responders. Now, if you watch Bro Chat and stuff like that, you always see that they're talking about guys that are hyper-responders. These are people that they take drugs and they just blow up. They work out and they just blow up. I know people would talk about Phil Heath and say he definitely was. They're like, the guy wouldn't, he just go in there and touch a weight and he just explodes. So William Bonac is obviously one of those guys, right? He looks at him, he says like, damn, we got some work to do. If you wanted to do this show by then, we might need a little bit more time. Bonac's like, nah, trust me. And that's pretty awesome because I fucking love William Bonac. I've always been a huge, huge fan of Bonac. And if you look at his update pictures these days, he's looking pretty damn good. I mean, the guy's got to be in his mid-40s, if not going on his 50s. He's old, but he's still sharp and he still looks really good. And I can't wait to see what he does in the future. But, you know, with Stefan having this like medical background and this background in medicine, he talks a lot about, you know, bodybuilders dying and getting your blood work done and high blood pressure and things like that. So just check out a couple things that he says about that.
If it's high LDL, you don't feel it. You still feel well.
Yeah,
if you have high blood pressure, you still feel well. You don't take care of it. But in 10 years, you're fucking dead.
Right.
Because I don't think hyperresponder exists. The hyperresponders are those who are genetically really, really good reacting to exercise.
Okay.
But when that guy is meeting the guy who super can tolerate drugs, then that's the perfect combi. Oh, the balloons.
So I find that extremely, extremely interesting. You got a hyper-responder, a great athlete is almost made from one being highly responsive to weight training. So it starts with that. But then if you can tolerate the drugs on top of that, good night. You probably got like a Ronnie Coleman or something like that. So that's actually the fucking key. Gotta be responding to the goddamn weights, and you gotta almost not be responding to the drugs. Well, not be responding, you just don't have too many side effects and whatnot. But anyways, guys, if you get a chance, look at that podcast. Stefan Kienzl is a very, very interesting, smart dude. They got a lot of stuff in there that I didn't talk about. I can't do the whole podcast. You should just go watch the podcast. But I'd like to end it with what Stefan says about bodybuilding in general that I think was pretty fucking commendable and cool and true. So check that out.
I want everybody to see how beautiful the sport of bodybuilding can be.
Sure.
You know, it's just a perfect, for me, it's a perfect combination of everything. It's a combination of art, it's a combination of willpower, it's a combination of physical activity. And most of the people out there doing really their best.
Anyways, I couldn't have put that together any better myself. My name is John Red. This is The Big Take, and I'm done. Bye.